it loud for everybody for Anthony Eugenio. We're having next time. Very funny. Wayne Russell, everybody.
Welcome to the Open Mic Pain with Anthony and Wayne podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Open Mic Pain with Anthony and Wayne. My name is Wayne Russell. This is Anthony Eugenio. Anthony, how are you doing today?
Oh, Wayne, I am living the dream. Excited to talk about more of our open mics, and exclusively, probably this is a good episode to talk about our bombs. So I think it's going to be a good one.
Absolutely. The last episode, we talked about Anthony's first time on stage, my first time on stage, and we went through a couple mics that we did together. And we're going to pick up from where we left off. So this next mic that we went to was in Jamaica Plain. And for me, the first two mics I had done a similar set. I learned from the first mic there was a lot of dead, I don't want to say dead air, but dead words, like we talked about economy of words. I listened to it back and I realized there was so much empty wording, and I cut it all down and I was able to put in a third joke rather. And for this particular mic, something big happened. I want to say big, but something happened in the news, and I was like, I want to try my hand at doing a topical joke. The thing I'm talking about is the Dalai Lama asking a young boy to suck his tongue. So I wrote a joke on that. I wrote a joke on it, and I tried it. This was a fun one because I did get a couple laughs, even though there were only like 3 or 4 people listening. But there was a lady in the crowd, and this was my first crowd interaction. She actually started speaking to me while I was doing the joke. She went so far as to say that she knew the Dalai Lama in passing, and that she served him coffee, and she started telling me this ridiculous story. And it was a really good lesson in kind of keeping your composure.
Yeah, control the stage type of effect.
Yeah. So, I had started with a line of, if you don't know who the Dalai Lama is, and she yelled out, I know who the Dalai Lama is. And all I said was, well, not everybody's as smart as you. And then I picked up right back where I went, which is not a great heckler line. But it didn't fluster me. I felt pretty proud of myself for not being flustered, just saying something and then picking right back up where I started and moving on. Other than that, this particular mic didn't go so well for me. How about you?
That one was not too bad. Like I wasn't a fan of the way that the venue hit us with the bar being so close to the stage and having people talk over your set so much because you were just like within arm's length of the stage. But the hosts luckily got absolutely hammered during the night, and I was doing some of my dickiest work, and it did good for them, so they were laughing a lot. But it was just a tough, I'm not making eye contact with anybody. I'm kind of just looking straight ahead and delivering the lines and looking at a bunch of uninterested faces. But hey, man, that's open mic comedy sometimes, unfortunately.
That absolutely is open mic comedy. If you are somebody listening to this and you are going to open mic comedy, whether you're a comic or not, try to be a little supportive. There are people up there who have either not done it before. This might be their second, third, or fourth time. Maybe it's their 100th time and they're just trying something new. You may not find it funny, in which case don't laugh. That's fine. But the staring daggers thing, which I've encountered a few times, is absolutely horrendous. And that's something I encountered in this particular spot, was staring daggers from a couple people, not saying the venue as a whole, but it made me very uncomfortable as a brand new comic.
And I think we should mention, for those who don't know, who maybe haven't done an open mic yet, a lot of the time you do open mics, it's predominantly other comics who you're performing for who are up on the list.
Yes.
If there's 30 people there, 25 of them are going to be comics that are going to perform. So a lot of the time they're worrying about their own set, or they just did their set and they're in tunnel vision and they're not listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have to take that with a grain of salt as you go up there. Know that as you perform, because sometimes you'll feel a lot shittier than you did. Like, for instance, we did that Jamaica Plain set to a lot of silence, spoiler alert. And a comic came up afterwards, was like, hey, you guys were really funny. That was good stuff. And I really liked it. And that alone, we're like, all right, well, we're doing comedy for somebody. And that's all you got to really hang your hat on.
I'm sure we'll talk about this down the line. When I was trying to really kind of figure out joke writing, I stumbled across this guy. I'll look him up. I can't remember his actual name, but he's called the Joke Doctor. And he said something that really resonated with me, was learn to calibrate your laughs. If you're in a room full of comics, they're, like you said, they're either waiting to go up or they just got up, and they're either in their own head thinking about their jokes and trying to remember it, trying to remember what they're going to say, how they're going to say it. Maybe they heard another comic do a joke about areolas, and they're like, oh my God, there goes my areola joke. So they're trying to move things around. Or on the flip side, they just got off and maybe they didn't do as well as they thought. So they're trying to figure out what went wrong. So it's really important to, that resonated with me. It's really important to calibrate your laughs to, the comic to spectator ratio. The other thing too is when you're in a room full of comics, they're probably thinking very similarly to you, right? They're looking for the joke. Where's the punch? And they can find it a lot faster. I've run into this with my wife, where she finds a particular comic hilarious, and my brain goes right to where his punchline went to. So I found it clever. I found it funny, but not laugh out loud funny, because I kind of had an inkling of where he was going to take that premise.
Sure. Yeah, and that was our third time out there. I think that a cool segment to do next might be, since we've gotten into our first couple open mics, is to take people up to date to now, which we're about to tease you for our next open mic at Lowell, Massachusetts, that we're going to go to. But first, I think we should talk about our lowest set and our best set. So why don't you start us off with your shittiest set, Wayne, and tell us about it.
It's oh man, it's got to be definitely, I would say probably the second time I went to Jamaica Plain. There was, I think, maybe 2 or 3 people listening, and the 2 or 3 people listening included you and 2 people who were just not having what I had to say. And
that was the first time I've heard you yell at a crowd for
didn't
being
yell.
shitty. For being
so
shitty.
It was actually in our promo. If you watch the promo, there's a point where I say, "Wake up." I was about 2 minutes into my set of stuff that had gotten laughs at a couple other places. I think this was like our 7th or 8th week. So we've been up a few times, and these particular jokes actually got, they got pretty decent laughs everywhere else, and it was complete crickets, and I didn't know how to handle it. So at one point, I saw red. I was like, Jesus Christ, you guys are a bundle of fun. Fucking wake up. And then I just lost them. I heard somebody go, oh. I was like, oh, I'm not doing that again. It was not comfortable. The one thing that made me feel a little better was when I got off stage, there was a guy that walked up to me and said, hey, you were really funny. I don't know what's wrong here. Keep doing it. And that's the kind of support that I like, I don't want you to laugh at me if I'm not funny. I don't need anybody to coddle me or funnel, be a fluff boy for me.
But listen.
For one, listen, but I like constructive criticism, and I urge you guys too, if you're out there, have a little constructive criticism, whether you're a comic or not. Not everything that a comic says is going to be funny, but give them a little encouragement, because that's what's going to, this is going to water the plant and feed the plant to make it blossom into something awesome. If somebody went up to Louis C.K. the first day and said, "You fucking suck," and he decided to go home and just sell auto parts for a living, we wouldn't have the hours of joy and masturbation that we have.
Yeah, exactly. No, we needed that. I need that man to come as much as possible and write as many jokes as he can. Yeah, I went to the same set and I definitely felt the same silence, but I'm pretty good at, like, if it's a silent set, meaning the crowd is just not into what I'm doing, I have a hard time calling them out, which I should do more. I just kind of just go into the tunnel mode like a deer and do the set really quickly. I'll get off instead of 5 minutes at 4 minutes, 30 seconds. And just, you didn't think it was funny? Chortle my balls. Move on.
You touched upon this in the last episode. Why I think part of the reason why it didn't go so well. I did not realize this until after, when I watched the video, but there was a pride flag hanging up, and one of the jokes
it was
I
actually
did,
our backdrop to the
it was
show.
the backdrop.
Imagine
it's
behind
actually that's
me.
in the video too. That was that's the video where I freaked out. Yeah, so you'll see that.
You'll see it, and we did our transiest of jokes.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't horrendous. I did a joke comparing being bald, as you can see, to being gay, which was very tasteful, I will say.
It was Pride Month.
And I don't know, it just didn't hit. But it was, in my head, a little cringy when I realized what I said and I watched the video and I saw the pride flag behind me. I was like, oh, I probably could have chosen a different joke. But it wasn't hateful. It was
no.
It was team.
We
it was
don't
team
have
building.
hateful comedy. We're more just trying to touch on taboo subjects, because it's like the last bastion of fucking shit you can say is comedy. Like when everybody's getting mad at each other for what they're tweeting and stuff like that. We want to go out there and say, what makes us laugh. But when you were a kid and you were with your friends, if everybody took what you said to be gospel and what you actually meant, you'd be in Guantanamo Bay right now. Mm-hmm. But you say things to make people laugh because it's a break from life. And you say, like, one of your favorite comics is Jim Norton, and you feel like you have a style similar to his. And again, do any of us think that Jim Norton, well, actually, maybe a lot of his stuff is actually true and he's a freak show, but
he's 100% a freak show.
Well, that's why we love him.
I love Jim Norton. Chip Chipperson. Is that what it was? Chip Chipperson?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Love me some Chip.
So was that your worst set as well, or would you? I'm baiting you here.
Yeah, no, what my worst was. So we the first time I went to the safe,
which ironically is the next one on our, or what would have been the next one on our list if we were going chronologically.
Yes, no. So, basically, a little teaser for you before I get into my bomb at the safe. Our next episode, we are going to go to the safe, and we're doing a set. So we're going to film a reaction afterwards. We'll put in, a laugh or two from that set. So stay tuned for episode 3. But for now, you're going to live in my goddamn misery, and you're going to like it. So I went to the safe, my first time. And online, it says, if you go on Comedy Home, which is where we get a lot of our open mic dates from, so shout out to them. All right, laugh at my misery. They say that you get 6-minute sets on there. So I had practiced all morning a 6-minute set, and I just elongated one of my jokes. And when I got there, miscommunication, but it was a 5-minute set, and I was very high, which again, it's kind of like I need all of the bits of the machine to be put together, because when you turn on the machine, it's gonna smoke a bunch of weed and it can't fix itself anymore. So that's kind of how I do comedy. And I wasn't smart enough at the time to just have a 1 minute joke to take out, and that way I can go across on other jokes. I literally had a longer joke or a shorter version of the same joke in order to make up that time. So I'm like, okay, I got to go up there and do the shorter version of this joke. Just so stupid to think that way. So when I went up there, I did my first joke, and when I got to the where I had to go shorter, my brain shut off, and I did not remember shit from my set. So you'll see again, to bring up a promo video from our bombs, you'll see me go drag over a stool and sit down and smile. That's the smile of a person that's about to jump off of the top of a building. That's the gross smile that one gives.
Can I be honest with you? I made that promo video and I posted it. And I don't know if you remember, but I texted it to you and I said, hey, if you don't like something on here, let me know. We can delete the video real quick and I'll remake it. That was what I was referring to. I was that scene of you pulling the stool up because I knew you would know exactly where it was and what it was. But yeah, that was the reason when I said that to you. I was really nervous you were going to be very upset about that.
No, I remember after I did that set, so completely forgot my set. I said it on stage. I forgot what I was supposed to say. It went blank. Everybody's biggest nightmare, forgetting their set had happened. And afterwards, I was like, Wayne, I don't want to see that video. You don't upload it to our shared page. Just delete it. I never want to see this fucking place again. I even had a great improv because they have like a Rainbow Road type LED light out there, and I did a nice
You
improv.
did, and I got a huge laugh.
Yeah. And then I just shat my britches.
I always say comedy is subjective. You had a really shitty night. You only did 4 minutes or 3.5 minutes out of 5. But the 3.5 minutes you did, you got a lot of really good laughs. And you didn't realize it because you were so much in your own head.
Yeah, I was saying, you fucking suck, you stupid fucking dick, you goddamn. That was in my head the whole time. That's all I was thinking.
Do you have anything else to say about your worst set, or do you want to forget that forever now?
No, that's about as bad as it gets. So let's tease.
So
oh,
where did we go? Where did we go the week after that?
we went back to the safe, which I said I would never go back. And you were like, that's the only one I can make this week. And I was like, nice. Thanks to pigeonhole me in, Wayne.
And you completely rebounded. You fucking killed that night.
Well, I had a good set. I remembered my set. That was the key. Got to make sure you say the words, you dum-dum.
Before we go too far, by the way, I feel like we should call out hosts. I don't remember the host's name from Coffee and Cotton or the one in Jamaica Plain. I know we called out Ben. Ben's a great host. And the host of the safe, Ren Marquez, I believe it is.
It is.
He's fantastic.
Ren is great.
I really enjoy Ren. He's a real fun guy. He's got a lot of good jokes, and he's just really welcoming when you go in there. So I think that's something I'd like to do moving forward too, is just making sure we call out the hosts.
Okay, so I want to give a tease to our next episode. Our next episode is going to be our trip to the safe. This is going to be our first episode where we're going to give you a before and after reaction of what we're trying to do every week. So everybody's caught up now. We suck. You get it. Clips, all that. Now we're going to show you kind of real time as we're getting better. We're going to do some stuff, and the next episode will be at the safe, and we're going to talk all about how we feel about the safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll talk about maybe the jokes that we're going to do, and we're never going to tell you probably but definitely not the punches or whatever. We might tell you some premises or tips and tricks on how we got to the point of the jokes that we're going to do. So maybe we did it a week before and this didn't hit or that, and what we did to kind of punch it up a little bit. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about, our anticipation, what we expect. And then we will go do the show. We're a show that we'll go do the open mic, and then afterwards we will talk about how we felt it went, what could have gone better, if anything. Something can always go better. But yeah, we'll kind of give our afterthoughts of it as well.
Great. So we'll see you guys next on the Quest for Laughs.